Welcome to another video production from Slater Dozier Railroad Media. In this video, we see trains I caught with a few friends in southern Illinois from March 8th to March 9th, 2025. We begin this video in Effingham, Illinois, where CN A40891 would roll south past the Amtrak station with a good lash-up. Illinois Central engines 1001 and 1036, both SD70 standard cabs wearing the famous Death Star paint scheme, would lead UP 7106 and UP 7226 into Effingham. Counterpart train CN A40791 would depart Effingham after finishing work and meeting A408. Another pair of Death Star SD70s, IC 1010 and 1007, would lead the northbound train over the Double Diamond with CSX. We would then move to Watson, Illinois to catch Amtrak P39071, the northbound Saluki, flying through Watson and knocking down the older style signal in town.
CN detector, mile 206.1. Northbound. Mile 206.1. Northbound. No defects. Temperature 42F. Total axles 32. Speed 78. Detector out.
Even on the old Illinois Central main line of Mid-America, we couldn't escape Norfolk Southern's AC-44C6Ms, as NS-4443 would lead CN SD75I number 5673 on CN M39671 north towards Effingham.
CN detector, mile 206.1. Northbound.
Once A408 finished its work in Effingham and met M335, we would move to Edgewood, Illinois to intercept the train there. Edgewood is where Canadian National's Bluford Subdivision, which primarily sees southbound traffic, joins CN's Champaign Subdivision, which primarily sees northbound traffic. Since A408 is bound for Centralia, Illinois, we would follow it south down the Champaign Sub and intercept it 2 more times. We would beat A408 to Ferrina, Illinois to catch the train cruising past the large grain elevator in the center of town. Our final catch of A408 would be in Tonti, Illinois, as the train would take the siding to meet a fast approaching M39671. Minutes later, M396 would come north, wasting no time at all, with CN 8952, Canadian National's Grand Trunk Western Heritage Unit, leading the way. After finishing lunch in Centralia, Illinois, we would see empty coal train NS895 moving slowly through the middle of downtown Centralia. We would catch the train in Walnut Hill, Illinois. While the sole lead motor was another NSAC44C6M, there would be a variety of different coal cars on this train, including some Conrail hopper cars. Back on the CN, we would catch CN P39191, the southbound Saluki just south of Centralia in Irvington, Illinois. Our third Death Star duo of the day would be on CN L54491 in Richview, Illinois, as ICs 1027 and 1015 would lead the train south through town. In Ashley, Illinois, we would catch northbound CN A408 with AC44C6M CN 3302 on the point. We would then move to the Union Pacific Mount Vernon Subdivision and would catch UPZECYG coming north in Bonnie, Illinois. We would be surprised by FXC 4643 trailing a very dirty UP 9784 as the head and power of this giant intermodal train that we nicknamed the Megamodal. After taking a break from trains that afternoon, we would move to Ina, Illinois to catch UPM and LTT headed north at the north end of Ina siding. Moving to the south end of Ina siding, we would catch UPM PRNL headed south as the sun set on the last evening before the beginning of daylight savings time. The following day, we would wait at the Diamond in Benton, Illinois and catch UPM TTPB with BNSF power, which is not common on the Mount Vernon sub, leading the southbound train. A few friends and I would venture to Salem, Illinois to try our luck with a southbound train later that afternoon. While we would miss our southbound entering the yard, we would catch the UPM and LTT from the previous day departing the yard with CN 2303 added as a fourth engine in the lash-up. Since this train is bound for CN in Champaign, Illinois, a CN crew would be on this train and would get on CN rails at Kinmundy, Illinois, a few miles north of our location. On our way back to Benton, we would see that the southbound train from earlier had a clear signal, so we would wait for it in Ina, Illinois. We would eventually see UP-MPRNL come into view with UP-6171 wearing a K3HL horn rolling up the hill during the last bit of daylight. The dispatcher would put the MPRNL in the siding to meet northbound megamodal UPZEGYC, which would catch us by surprise. Hot on the heels of the LDYC would be UP 7888 North leading UP MLDYC through Whittington, Illinois. We would catch the MPRNL again in Benton before calling it a night. This concludes part 1 of the Illinois trip. Stay tuned for part 2. Thank you for watching another video production from Slater Dozier Railroad Media. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to see more content like this.